Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and I wanted to do a video about looping over arrays and objects. So I've done videos on loops before, but there's different ways of looping over arrays and objects, and I thought I would discuss them. So the first we'll do is how to iterate using just a normal for loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create two things, const mir, okay, and that's going to equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And const my object equals, as usual, I'll just do my name, Alex, age, 34, birth year, 1985. Okay, so there's my object, and we're gonna practice iterating over these two things in different ways. So first with the for loop. So if I want to iterate over the array with a for loop, it's pretty straightforward. So we just do a normal for loop. So I equals 0. Now the trick is that the array has this property called length that you can use. So it would just be like long as I is less than my r.length, because my r.length in this case will be 6, but the highest index of the array will be 5 because it's 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in that case, this will iterate until it hits the number 5. So that works out perfectly. And then each round we go, we'll do I++. We'll increment. So then if I do this, and then I console.log my r, and as the index we'll use I, because the first time it'll be 0, then 1, then 2, then 3. It'll just literally perfectly iterate over all the entries in that array. So see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Now what if I wanted to do the same thing with an object? Problem is, an object isn't an iterable. You can't just naturally iterate over it. So let's say I could do one or two things though. Well, there's really three things I can do. There's three functions that objects have that allow me to store what's in the object in an array that I then can do this with. Okay, if I just wanted to have the keys, I could do this. We'll just call this my object iterator. So I'll just call it obj_it, because we're going to do it three different ways. First one, we're going to use object.keys with my obj. What this does, it's going to take my obj and then return an array of just the keys. So name, age, year. Okay, so in that case, what I need to do is then change this. Same setup, because it's now an array. Obj.it, except now we're using my obj. And then since I have to dynamically insert the key, I'm going to use the square bracket notation for an object. So when I do my obj square bracket notation, I'm going to put obj it I. So basically, we're going to use the first key, the second key. So then if this works out right, we should see Alex 34 1985. And just so you kind of see what's going on, I'm also going to console.log obj it I, so you can see how it's the array is actually the keys. Actually, I won't even put that there. What I'll do is I'll console log the actual array here. Console.log obj it. Syntax here is objects.keys is not a function. Might be uppercase. Keys. Okay, I'm just spelling keys wrong because it's late in the night. Because it's like 12:42. Almost 1 a.m. Save. Okie dokie. Object.keys. Oh, it's lowercase now. Hey. There we go. So you see, it just made an array of the keys of the object. And using this, I was able to access the different keys. Because again, I can use these square brackets to access a particular key. So because I can't use dot notation because I'm not actually invoking a specific key name. I'm dynamically doing it, so I need the square brackets. But cool, that's one way. But there's another function you can use. Let me just put some space between these. I could use object.values. So I'll just skip the whole key thing altogether. And what this does, instead, it's going to make an array of the values of the object. So what I'll do is I'll just basically console log the value straight from the object array. So I'll just do it like that, or I. Okay, and that'll end up pretty much doing the same thing. Okay, but notice, see, now the array doesn't have the keys anymore. It has the values of the array. Okay, and then the third option is I can do object.entries. This is a little bit stranger. It's going to return you an array of arrays. And each array has two elements, the key and the value. So 0 is the key, 1 is the value. So if I wanted to use this, okay, basically what I have to do is do this. I want to use, so basically it would be I, and then the value is the second thing, so it would be 1. Okay, and then that would do what I want it to do. Okay, and see, it returns you an array of arrays. So the first array, so the array that's in spot 0, has name and Alex, but I want the value Alex, so I take 1, which is the second spot in that array. So it's like Alex 34, 1985. But either way allowed me to iterate over the object's values. So using for loops, that's the ways I could do it. Okay? So that's method number 1, just a normal for loop. Okay? Now, second method, specifically for arrays, is the for of loop. So basically, if I could do this, for, well, and in this case, my array has numbers in it. So to make things clear, I'm going to say for every num of my R. So it's just saying I'm going to loop over my array, my R, and then each time I loop, the value will be num. So then I just console.log num. Save. Okay, and if I do that, see, just loops over the array. Can't do that with an object per se. What I could do is I could do one of those things where I did before. So I could do like const object equals object dot values my obj, and then do it for every value of object, for every value of object console log value. So basically it'll go through each, it'll first create an array of the values here, and then we'll loop through that array like we did the other array. But since that's containing the values of the array, this just kind of makes what it's doing more clear. Value of object. And then that'll technically iterate over that array again, or iterate over that object, so Alex 34, 1985. So that's how I would do it if I really want to use the for of loop. And again, the benefits of iterating over arrays versus objects is that when you have an array, you know what order things are going to iterate in, because an array has a set order. Objects don't have a set order. So even though I defined it personally, name, then age, then year, depending which browser I'm using, it may actually present it to me in a different order, because objects don't keep track of the order that they're in. And I think in newer browsers, they've kind of made that more first in, first out. They've standardized it. But for a period of time, there wasn't a standard order of object properties. It would just be, they'd just be there. So sometimes, you know, they'd be in one order versus another order. So the order was unpredictable, which is why you would want to turn it into an array before you iterate over it. because like there is a way to iterate over the object. It's called a for in loop. Okay, and let's get rid of that. Get rid of this. Still a for loop, except now the syntax, it would be for every value, or actually it's for every key in my obj, because basically what happens, it's iterating over the keys, if I remember correctly. So then basically what I want to do is do this, and I would want to show the value. So in that case I would do my obj with the key inside of it. So that way it's bringing the key. I have to use a square bracket notation because you can't use dot notation when you don't have the actual key. So if I hit save, okay, and we do this, see, it iterated over the object, Alex341985. So for every key in my object. Okay, one other way to iterate is every array has what's called a for each function built into it. So I could do my r dot for each, and the way this works is that it takes a function as a parameter. So I would just do this. I can type in, so first would be like the value of the inside that array, but I can also put in a second parameter called index, and actually put the index as a parameter as well, and then just, you know, arrow function it up. Console.log, so we'll console.log the index and the value. Okay, so you see in index 0, the value is 1. Index 1, the value is 2. In index 2, the value is 3. Neat. So that's another way you can just loop over an array if you just need to do just a straightforward loop. I personally like that way. That's my personal preference. Some people prefer the for ofs and the for ins. Some people prefer using the for loop. And generally, for an object, you can either do the for in loop or use object.values.entries or .keys to generate an array to loop over. Those are sort of your options. I mean, you could do what's called creating a custom iterator, but that is just so more complicated than I feel that it's worth. Only if you really need like a very particular odd way of iterating over an object would you even think about that. And I'm not going to go through that because it's something that'll tie brains and knots. But yes, if you want to loop over an array or an object, this is what you can do. Now, keep in mind there are other ways of storing information, such as maps and sets in JavaScript. And again, which the for of loop will work too. So let me just go over those real quick. There's a data type called a set. It's something that's just kind of was added later on in JavaScript. And all it is, it's an array with no duplicate values. So, for example, let's say first I make an array. My array equals 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. So you see there's duplicate values in that array. And as an array, that's fine. But let's say I want to get rid of those duplicates. I can do const my set equals a new set. So I'm creating this new set object and just pass in my array. And now watch what happens. Console.log my set. And it's just going to be an array just without duplicate values. Boop, see? Just removed all the duplicate values. Now here's the thing to notice. Notice this is not, because remember, we're using the new syntax. When you use a new syntax, you're not creating an array, you're creating an object. So that's why you see the curly brackets. Okay, so you want that. So if you want that to be an array, so that way you can use array stuff like the for of loop, then you need to, you know, do something like this. So maybe on the next line I'll just say, hey, const new array, new r equals dot dot dot, use the spread operator, my set. And now if I go here, and now I console log new r, actually let me put it on two separate lines, Control Z. So that way you can see that they change. New R save. Okay, so there I created the set which removed all the duplicates, but then I turned it back into an array so I can use it like an array. And I could even make this more succinct by doing something like this, because I can just put the, I mean, I could have just, keep it simple. I won't. That's a pretty useful right there. And then you can just loop over it like normal. Although, let's test this out. I don't think you necessarily even need to do that change to use the for of loop. I think a set is actually created to be able to use the for of loop. So let's give it a shot. For value of my set, console.log value. So just console log the value just to see that it prints the value for each step in the set. So let's see here. Yep, it works. Cool. So you can use a for of loop with just a set. You don't have to turn it back into an array. You can just use a set as is, remove duplicates, and then iterate over it. Okay, so just it's a nice trick, so that way if you ever run into a situation where you have an array and you don't want to use the duplicates, you can just create a set, loop over it. And then there's another data type called a map, which is like a key value pair thing. So let's see here, const. The only difference is that it's iterable, unlike an object. So you can actually use a for of loop over my map, or a map, which you can't do. So let me see if I remember how to do this right. So when you create a map's going to look more like that array of entries. Remember from when we used like object.entries at the beginning of the video, where we created you that like array with the key and the value pair in a separate array? That's essentially what you're doing here. So I would do, if I want to create a map, I would do new map, because again, it's an object. I think that these are custom built-in objects in the JavaScript that were added in later to kind of give programmers access to things that they were used to in other languages, because maps and sets are things you'll find in other languages. So basically the way this works is you just create an array, and inside that array you'll create an array. And the cool thing about a map that's different than like when you're using a normal JavaScript object, the key has to be like letters, words. So the key can't be like a number. The key can't be like a function. Here the key can be anything. It's just whatever the first value is. So I could say key 6, the value is 7. Next, the key is the string 2, and the value is 8. And let me put a comma there, because each of these are treated as a key value pair, and the first thing is the key and the second thing is always the value. So let's see here, we'll just do one more. Const, actually you can even do something funky like this. You can actually use console.log as the key, and let's say the value is 9. Okay, save, and then let's say I want the console.log my map. Let's just see what it gives us when I console.log it. And see, you get this, it's like an object that has these properties. The key is 6, the value is 7. The key is 2, the value is 8. The key is this function, the value is 9. So not that I can think of any potential use of this, of being able to have all these random really odd keys, but theoretically you can do it. That's sort of the cool part. Okay, and you can do a for loop. I can use a for of loop, so I can be like for value of my map, and it's going to iterate over the values. So it'll be 7, 8, 9, not over the keys. So let's see here, value of my map, and I would just do console.log value, save. Interesting. Actually console logs the key and value. Okay. Good to know. Okay, so when you can use the for of loop and it'll iterate over the key value of each one. So you see, so in that case, yeah, that's fine. But you guys see the difference there. It basically iterates over each key value pair as an array. Interesting. Okay, and then let's say I wanted to get an individual value on a map, just so you can understand how I would ever call that weird function key. It'd be like console.log. I would be like my map.get console.log. Okay, and then what's going to happen is you'll see there, whatever this is the key that it's looking for, and it's going to look in the map for thing that has a key of console log, which it'll find this, and return me back 9, which is the most bizarre thing ever. See, it returned me 9. Again, I can't think of any reason you'd ever do that, but it's cool to know you can. Neat, right? So, yeah. So in this case, I think you've learned about everything. You now know everything you could iterate over. So you can use a for of loop with maps, sets, and arrays, and you know how to generate arrays from objects using object.keys, object.entries, object.values, so that way you could use for of loops if you wanted. You know for in loops, which work for objects, and the for each callback function in arrays. So this is I guess you can call this also a masterclass in iterating over objects and arrays. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you guys in another video later on. Have a great day and enjoy.